Hey there, everyone. How are you? Making sure I go live here and I'm doing this right. Waiting for it. All right, there we go. Hey, everyone. I'm lopsided like usual, so I'm gonna try to fix that quick. I want to talk to you guys because obviously a lot of craziness going on with the races being canceled and all this stuff going on. I think the first thing we all need to do is take a deep breath because at the end of the day, hopefully everyone does well and this thing passes quickly with the coronavirus. But I want to talk to you guys about training. My name's Steve Gunter, a physical therapist with Run Smart Online. I help a lot of runners train for races, and a lot of our runners are talking about what do I do next? Like, a race got canceled or it might get canceled. How do I handle this? As of yesterday, today is March 13th. They postponed Boston. There's going to be a lot of other races coming. So I want to talk to you guys about how do you handle this and how can you think about your training so that you can take what you've used and maybe you're only like 4 or 5 weeks out like you are from Boston right now, or you have a bigger race coming, maybe a race from now that got canceled. How do you take, put and store it into like that? How you're setting yourself up for success if you're going to be racing further into the spring or maybe the summer and into the fall. So the big thing I think I want you guys to know and look at is this number. And if you're wondering, oh, you can't even see. Oh, yeah, you can. These are my son's trains that he drew, so I'm not going to erase them. We're going to try to stay around them. But 60% number, I want you guys to remember that number because I'm going to talk about 60% and how that pertains to what we're going to do and how you should look at your training. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll come on and I'll talk more about things, and I'll answer your questions in the comments. But what we want to look at is like what's the plan here? So Boston's an easy one. A lot of runners were running Boston, 35, 40,000 people now are without a race in the spring. So Boston's about 5 weeks away, and we look at the life of a training plan. If you go from start to finish, there's going to be different peaks and valleys in the total amount of work that's being done, where when you start, you might be a little bit low, and then your mileage is going to be big, and then you have this big peak before any race. It doesn't matter. About 4 to 5 weeks out, you're really peaking your mileage, and then you're tapering down till race day. So how do you handle this if you are 4 or 5 weeks out from a race that just got canceled, whether it's a marathon or half marathon? I think what we need to do is just kind of reset. So there's a couple things you can do here. Number one, if you're 4 to 5 weeks out, the first thing I would tell you, and I'm telling some runners that we've worked with, is take the next 4 to 5 weeks and let's just run the course of the training plan, and we're just not going to have that race at the end. This is usually a little bit better if you're running a full marathon because, let's face it, running a full marathon by yourself sucks. And I know some of you are probably going to do it anyways and go out and do it. But if you're looking for, hey, the race is canceled, I really don't want to just go out and run a marathon by myself, what I'd recommend you do is actually go through the rest of your training. You're 4 to 5 weeks out, and then you're going to get all those gains from your training. For us, we do a lot of base building early on in the plan, which sets you up for a nice strong finish going towards the finish line, so you can maximize that finish. Let me grab my eraser here, and take this fitness that you're getting and carry it to your next race. The big thing you don't want to do right now is just throw in the towel and waste everything that you put on, or B, well, everyone's getting a little pissed off, but rightfully so, but I can't imagine the decision of canceling some of these things that are so big and what goes into it. I'm sure it might be an easy decision, but also like an easy, hard decision to do. But what you want to think about is finishing that race off strong, and then you can either run a marathon by yourself, or you can just can it and start looking to the next one and going through recovery. But the reason why I think the 60% number is important is because no matter where you're at, so let's say you're 4 to 5 weeks out, and let's just say that's Boston, I would tell you guys to finish the training plan, and then you can even finish that training plan and still be looking to the spring, because most of the damage is going to be done in that marathon, and then you take your time off. But if you finish your training plan 4 to 5 weeks out, then I would go into the 60% number that I wrote above, and I would take 3 weeks of 60% max mileage. So these are our recovery weeks that we use, 60% of max mileage. Take 3 weeks, finish off a 3-week recovery, and then go back into a training plan leading up to your race. You're going to take all that fitness you had from Boston and you're going to launch it to the next one. There's a ton of great races in the spring still that are open. Buffalo Marathon's in May. You have Grandma's Marathon in June. I'm not recommending signing up for anything because who knows where this thing is going to go, but you can at least say, hey, I'm going to look for that next one, or I'm going to be looking for the fall. But finish the training plan out, then take 3 weeks of recovery if you're going to do that. For people who are not maybe looking for a marathon and they're doing a half marathon, it's a little bit easier to go out and run that by yourself, but the same rule would apply. If you're 3-4 weeks out, if you're under 5 weeks out, I recommend that you finish your training plan, because you're going to be getting all the gains from that so you can launch yourself to the next one. One thing I really caution you guys about is if you're hurting and you're like, my knee's a little sore anyways, I would tell you just to shut it down. And if you're running healthy, finish it out. But if you're sore and aggravated in the knee or your foot or plantar fascia, whatever, just go ahead and take this opportunity to let the body heal, let it recover so you can start training again, and not just jamming a square peg into a round hole. If you're further out, let's say you are, I know there's some concern, I'm from Buffalo, New York, and there's some concern about a race at Memorial Day, which is May, which is still about 10 weeks out. How do you handle something like that? Obviously, you're just going to keep training, right? You're going to see what happens, because what seems to be the trend right now is anything within 4 weeks, that's where they're making that decision. So you're going to train yourself to that 4 to 5 week mark out anyway. So just keep following your plan, and that should really help with that whole process. If you are like, hey, I am 10 weeks out and the race got canceled, or I'm not going, I'm just going to shut it down, that's fine. But I would tell you guys that this 60% number, I would just take your mileage down to that. This is a good magic number. When I say 60%, it's 60% of your max mileage. So easy math, because I'm not that bright, would be to take you, if you did a grossly 100 miles a week, I like to do that first because that's an easy one. That's 60 miles a week would be your recovery. No one really does a lot of 100-mile weeks. But if you're a 50-miler a weeker, you're going to go down to 30 miles a week, and you're just going to sustain there. And if you're a 25-miler a weeker, you're going to go down to 15 or so. And what's going to happen is that's just going to keep you moving, keep you grooving, and then you can decide on some races. But it's a great opportunity for you to, if you're hurt, get on the mend. I'm actually going to be putting out a whole series of injury videos for you guys here over the next month. But I know there's a lot of things going on. Just take a deep breath. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. I know people are probably going to burn me in the comments like, I qualified for Boston. It took me 5 years, 10 years, or I raised all this money. They actually already told us that they're going to be running it again. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be a big deal. I just encourage you guys to carry your fitness to your next training plan so you can PR. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone is staying safe. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I can always come back live later today and kind of hash out any details on this. But train to 4 to 5 weeks out if you want to, and then finish the plan out, and then go to your 60% number for a couple weeks and start training back up again. That should help you guys. Again, let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.